boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm For Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have in here, it is NBA 2K21, a game developed by Visual Concepts, and it is using their in-house engine like the usual. So Visual Concepts are the developers of pretty much all the NBA games, so it's pretty much another year, another NBA. Alright, so let's take a look on the settings. So I will be playing throughout this video with 1440p using ultra settings, and I'm not using any anti-aliasing because the ultra settings already applies temporal anti-aliasing, which does an incredibly good job. Although if you want to add MSAA by using this option over here called anti-aliasing level, you are free to do it, but it is extremely demanding and it doesn't really return too much visual clarity for its cost. Alright, so looking to the recommendations, these guys recommend an FX CPU, so 8 gigs of RAM, so and a GTX 770 or an AMD R9 270, so it isn't really demanding. Looking to these requirements doesn't look that demanding. The only thing it is considerably demanding, it is really the hard disk space, which will consume you around 100 gigabytes, which is, well, bad. But I decided to take the test as usual in multiple different resolutions and settings, and at 1080p using maximum settings. This includes the ultra preset plus 8 times anti-aliasing. I got an average of 91 and the experience was overall always above 60 frames per second. At 1440p using the ultra settings, this doesn't include MSAA, it is the settings that you saw in the video. I got an average of 87 with a 1% low of 51, so it means that the game does drop from 60 frames per second with those settings, but only during cutscenes. I mean, replays and stuff like that, so it doesn't really matter that much. So at 4K, the ultra and the high settings provides an experience above 30 frames per second, with the high settings providing an average above 60, and the median settings, for me, it is the most playable experience at 4K. So if you are going to play this game at 4K, I do recommend you to go with the median settings, although you will see a good difference in visuals between median and high. The difference between high and ultra, it isn't really noticeable, so choose wisely what you want. So that's my recommendations for now. 1080p maximum settings, you can use and abuse of MSAA if you want. 1440p you can go with ultra settings, but don't use any anti-aliasing aside from temporal anti-aliasing. And 4K, my recommendation, it is to play at median settings if you prefer to have a good performance. So that's what you can expect performance wise of a GTX 1650 Super running NBA 2K21. But now let's talk very quickly about the game. So what does NBA 2K21 has to offer comparing to the last year? Absolutely nothing. Alright, so they just updated what they needed to update, but overall there is no significant difference from this game to last year's game. And actually the bad practices continue. So if you go to Metacritic and you search for the Metascore of the game, the Metascore, it is around 68, so it's a reasonable score. But if you go to the user score, and this is a score between 0 to 10, I mean, users only gave 0.9. The average of the user score, it is 0.9 from 0 to 10. So this clearly shows how pissed, I mean, it is not even satisfactory or not. Community, it is pissed at 2K because of NBA. And if you go to Steam, you can see that most of the users share the same thing, with the game having a score of 24%. This is mostly negative. Nobody is really happy about this. And this is only because one simple reason. Every year it is the same thing. This game, despite the gameplay it is good, despite the graphics are good, this game tries to push so hard into microtransaction territory that you can't play the game and having a fun with it without paying even more than the 60 bucks. So this game looks like those free-to-play games, those mobile free-to-play games that actually tries to force you all the time to buy microtransactions, and it clearly makes your life very difficult in-game until you pay. So unfortunately, NBA continues this because this have been one of the complaints of all users that plays this game. These have been majorly the only complaint that users have been having with this game. Well, aside from they don't really change anything year after year, but this one, it is completely the worst. All right, year after year, it is the same thing. You start to play and you start to slowly notice that the game, it is incredibly hard, and it's trying to make everything for you to pay the damn money for them in microtransactions for you to benefit from the game. And this is honestly really bad, and community already gave this type of scores in the last year NBA and in the other year NBA, and still these bad practices continue. And if I had to guess why, it is probably because all the people continues to buy the damn game, and so 2K doesn't really care about it because people still buy it, so they can still do these practices, and it doesn't really matter what score the game have because people will still buy anyway. So guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about NBA 2K21. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
You to get more. I mean, clearly, you think about Giannis and his background and where he is now. He and Thanasis oftentimes would take turns playing in the game, swapping the same pair of shoes. Those days are long behind both of them.
Here's LeBron following the basket by Giannis. Outside, Green. Pass to Bradley. Over Bledsoe, and again it's the Lakers. And in this first quarter, about 3 minutes played. Bledsoe against Bradley, and Giannis throws it down.
How about the springs of this guy, Antetokounmpo, also known as the Greek Freak? I mean, he just gets up off the ground like a rocket on these alley-oop chances.
Now here's Green. LeBron outside. And 2 free throws coming up, unable to get that one to go with all the contact. It goes on Eric Bledsoe. You know, even though LeBron doesn't go 100% every minute of every game in the season, GA, he still knows when to turn it on.
And for someone at his age, that is something you have to know how to do. You can see when LeBron kicks it into that next gear. Can't keep it on all the time, but he's still able to take over when he needs to.
He's off on the first.
And last season, we got to see what an effective playmaker LeBron James can be. The assist numbers through the roof, career high for him at the age of 35.
Absolutely remarkable. And Greg, when I first saw him in high school in Northeastern Ohio, I thought his passing was his greatest attribute, and that was after just seeing him play one time. And he's shown that throughout his career. Took on full ball handling responsibilities with the Lakers last year and showed you what he can do. He is a gifted passer and an extremely versatile player. Amongst the many things that I appreciate most about LeBron James, and there are a lot, his leadership. I mean, everybody else just kind of naturally falls into place behind him because he's such a good example and a positive leader.
And that'll be 2 free throws coming up. Officials on the call with the foul. Greg, we see defenses continually adjusting. Analytics favoring threes and dunks. Which teams do you think are toughest to score on at the rim?
You know, it's funny that you think defense in today's era, but if you look at the 2 teams that were the best in their respective conferences last season, they're the 2 teams I think protect the rim the best. Milwaukee with Giannis and the Lopez crew, and then obviously AD and LA with the Lakers. Those teams have the versatility on their front line to be able to defend the 3 and also protect the rim.
I think you've nailed it. Ties it up, and this next one could give them the lead. Morris is checked in for Los Angeles. And that drops, so they now lead by 1. Now Rondo. The pass to Caldwell Pope. Lopez with the block.
And the space Lopez is able to cover on defense, using that size and length to reject the shot.
Just 3 to shoot.
Boy, you've really got to put those away, especially against soft interior defense.
In the corner, it's DiVincenzo. The shot off that time, and the Lakers going the other way now. Caldwell Pope outside. Here's Rondo. Sweet little floater.
Rondo has exquisite handles now. He's got every dribble move in the book, and even then some. So you can't blink or go to sleep when you're trying to defend him.
Now here's DiVincenzo. He's gotten some minutes, but nothing on the board yet. Connaughton passes to Lopez.
At 7 feet tall, dunking is very easy for Lopez. Once he's this deep, the defense is in trouble.
Rondo's scanning the floor. 54 seconds left in the first quarter. Here's Kuzma. Off target from three-point range. For Milwaukee, they've gotten 4 of 6 field goal attempts to drop in the first quarter. Outside Hill. Floats one up. Three-pointer. Lopez, no luck.
You know what, though? Sometimes you can be too open. I think it may have surprised him, and that's why he missed.
Here's Caldwell Pope, and he'll shoot free throws here. Clearly fouled on that shot that time, the whistle blowing. And the foul called on the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, you got to be careful how you defend Caldwell Pope because he's got great speed and he knows how to use it to draw contact.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
First free throw is good.
A sharp shooter with a quick trigger release, Caldwell Pope is known for being an efficient scorer.
The Lakers making a switch here. Caruso's checked in. Marvin Williams is checked in for the Bucks. Korver comes in for Pat Connaughton. He's perfect from the line this time. The Bucks trail. And here is Hill. Still getting warmed up offensively. No scoring yet from him. The tray drills the three-pointer.
Just focusing on the task at hand. That's all you can do.
Yeah, these teams trading punches right now. I mean, it's table tennis. Back and forth we go.
And still a close game as the first quarter comes to a close. Bucks lead by 2. We'll get right back to the action when we return.